Hi, everybody. Coach Henry here with another episode of Positive Traction. And today in our studio, we're always adjusting and growing, is a good friend of mine, Lena, who I've got to know through the restaurant world. And if you know me, you know I like foodie stuff. And she happens to manage one of my favorite restaurants, and in the steak world, the favorite one. Please welcome Lena. Lena, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Can you share a little bit about your current status, who you are? And I can't wait to let people dive into your story.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me again. Lena Avila is my name. I am currently General Manager at the Mastro's in Thousand Oaks. I am a transplant. I came in from New York about 7 years ago, and the company transferred me over. I started at the New York Mastro's and then came into Beverly Hills, Malibu, and now I am very happy at Thousand Oaks.
I love it. Well, I need to just say one thing is that's pretty cool. You hit four of the best places in the world. New York. I know somebody on the team is really excited to go try that one out. Beverly Hills, come on.
My goodness.
Malibu, hello, and now Thousand Oaks. It's great. And I've been to all of them except New York yet. So I'll add that to my list. But that being said, thanks for being on the show, Lena. And one of the reasons I really wanted you to be on the show is because I think, look, being a female in the business world at the top is always harder, no matter what anyone says, than just being a man in that world. So I think it's great. I know you're an inspiration to a lot of people, but I would like to talk a little bit about your story of, before we get to today, let's back up a little bit about your life. Because I think people sometimes always assume that people that reach high levels, I mean, you get to deal with a lot of high-end people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize how much work it takes to get to certain levels. So let's dive in to a little bit about your personal life that you want to share about, your upbringing and how it evolved into this world.
Oh, my goodness. How much time do we have?
well, we'll do a little bit back and forth.
Feel free to cut me off at any point.
Let's start. I know you grew up on the East Coast.
Yes. I born in Brooklyn, raised in
Okay.
Queens,
So
New
right
York.
there, anyone that knows that, that's come on, we know that.
Grew up, in a time where I think it was even more difficult as a woman coming up. Grew up in the 80s, 90s. I started my first career, actually, I was a paralegal.
Oh, wow.
For about 10 years, got my associates in paralegal studies.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually was planning on going to law school. I, by chance, took the Brooklyn bar, just the Brooklyn law school application and the LSAT, and I ended up getting a good grade, and I was like, I'm going to law school. This is it. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Until one day, I had a fire in my apartment. It seemed like not really a big fire until I actually had to escape the building and kind of leave. And as I ran out, I saw everything burn down in my apartment.
Wow.
Left with nothing. Left my cat in the apartment too. Wow. So as I stood and I watched everything burn down, I pretty much, gave a prayer and I said, God, save my cat. And I'll do whatever you need me to do in life.
Yeah.
I had loved food all my life.
Yeah.
Who knew that I could make a career back in those days? Single mom, they don't really tell you, oh, you can be a chef or you can do this.
Right.
But Julia Child, I grew up on Gallagher Gourmet. When the Food Network didn't exist, it was PBS. So that's all I watched.
And by the way, I think you're right. I think it was much harder back then because you kind of set the tone of what women can do. But continue. But I just wanted to push that I think that's why your story is so compelling, even now more than ever, because you are setting a path. So continue your cat.
Yeah. So everything actually went well. The fire department came in. I went back into the apartment the next day. My cat was the only thing that survived.
Wow.
She was hiding in the top of a closet, thank God. Everything else destroyed. Clothes, jewelry, material things that I already said I don't care about. You can get rid of all of that. Right there, actually, as I watched everything burn, I decided I don't love what I do. I was like, I don't love the law. I don't love the 9 to 5. Money is great, but I can't see myself doing this for the rest of my life.
Wow.
So I ended up next day after getting my things together, maybe a week or so, I quit, gave my notice.
Wow.
Yeah, I cashed out my mutual funds.
Okay.
And I put myself through culinary school.
Wow. Okay, stop right there. Okay, because listen, one of the things of this platform, Lena, honestly, is I get to hear it just like you didn't know what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
So thank you, number one, for your trust. But number two, I have an agenda, but the ultimate, I don't know any of this. I don't get to understand it because I want to hear it for the first time.
Yeah.
And I just want people right there. What I'm getting from you is you in a moment where it could be devastation. Your cat was okay, so God honored that prayer. Seventh life, eighth life for that cat, right?
I know. Who knows how many now?
But that made you just kind of like it's kind of like what matters. And you cashed out and you went to start pursuing a dream. Now, if I may ask, around what age group were you in?
My goodness, I was about. My goodness, I want to say about 27.
Okay, so kind of mid to late 20s.
Yeah, about late 20s, I'd say.
Okay, and I only ask that for content because I like to people to understand, like, hey, at any age, at any time, go be happy.
Yeah.
All right. So so at that point, culinary school.
Yeah. So I decided, I'm gonna pursue it. I'm gonna do it. Gave my notice to them. Put myself through school. Didn't know what on earth I was gonna do. I was like, what? I don't have any experience in the restaurant business. I was like, I'll get in through the kitchen. That's how I'll get in. I'll cook and then I'll figure my way out to the front.
Food solves a lot of problems.
I was like, food. I loved the idea of just making people happy with food and entertaining. So I put myself through culinary school. I ended up getting a job as a reservationist.
Okay.
I went from making a whole lot of money to a whole little money.
Yeah.
So of course I had to move, get a roommate, and all the fun stuff you do. I finished culinary school, and I just so happened to get a great job with. And then again, God bless me, because you don't start where I started with no experience. I got the reservationist job with the top Japanese chef in the world.
Wow.
And at the time, he Michelin rated, first Japanese chef to be Michelin rated. And I had a great rapport with him.
Wow.
He absolutely loved me. And I absolutely loved him.
Okay, Lena, again, I love, listen, I am blessed to be in this position, to hear you pursued your dream, not knowing what you're going to do afterwards financially.
Yeah.
Okay. You got into, and I know New York, it is the epic center of restaurants and who's who. And you got a chance to do the reservations, which is a big thing, with a Michelin star, first one. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so please continue. I'm just wow.
Yeah. No, it's when I hear myself saying it, I'm like, wow, oh my gosh.
And this is still in your late 20s that you're getting this gig with no experience in that field.
Yeah, none. Zero.
That is the blessing.
Yeah, I figured I'd get in through the kitchen and I'll start cooking. I ended up doing really well with him. And like I said, just having a great rapport with him. We got along famously. He loved me. He taught me a lot. He is, even though he was and still is the most expensive place to eat, and his philosophy was in the business, you do anything and everything. There's no job below you. There's no job above you. When I got my cards, he wouldn't put a title on my card. He was like, you don't have a title because you do everything.
Yeah, I'm going to, right there. See, this is what I share with my team all the time. Honesty is my way. I said, look, I think what's helped me in my career, I know it has, is I know it all, meaning understand it all, right? Doesn't mean I'm going to do it, or the goal is for people to be better in different parts of it, but you understand it. I love his philosophy.
Yeah.
I love that.
And again, just another blessing in disguise.
Absolutely.
He's like, if this needs to be cleaned, you do that. If this needs to be done, you do that.
I love that.
Great work ethic. I was there open to close every day because he was there open to close every day.
And we have a saying in our team says, act like you own it, one day you will. And it's not people, what are you going to own the restaurant? No, it's not about owning it like it's more metaphorically when you take ownership. Like it's kind of like the Ritz-Carlton has a slogan. Yeah. Your problem is my problem. Right? They ask you where the bathroom is. Oh, let me show you.
Exactly.
Right? So I love that. So you're in late 20s. You obviously already had good work ethic to do what you've done. Yeah. So now you switch to this guy. So now where'd that lead to?
So I ended up being with him in a total 8 years on and off.
Wow. Okay.
I was with him for a couple of years, and then I ended up leaving and going to Applebee's.
Okay.
because I wanted to have a well-rounded career. And I was like,
Yeah.
I can't just know this.
Right.
I've got to also know different aspects of the restaurant industry. I need
Yeah.
fast food. I need fast casual. So I ended up, Applebee's I did for a while. Great. I ended up going back to him because he needed help. I ended up leaving him again. I went to the airport. So I ran a terminal at JFK.
Wow.
Was operations, which ran all the restaurants inside the terminal.
Wow.
I
That was nuts.
Oh my! That was insane. You're seeing about 16 to 13 to 32,000 people a day,
Wow.
and everybody's got to move and everybody's got to go. So food's
Again,
got to come out.
I'm just stopping you, Lena, because people just don't realize when it comes to food, it's right behind money, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Meaning people's money is moving, but food, right? We want our meal hot. We want this, and you don't realize 32,000 people a day.
Yeah.
All right, so
It's insane. It
Wow.
was insane. The best job ever, though. I mean, you definitely learn how to work really fast.
yeah.
I left that position. I ended up going to LaGuardia,
Okay.
the other airport in New York,
Yeah.
a bigger one. And I ended up also running a terminal there. They had about 32 restaurants in there, all
Wow.
from a Dunkin' Donuts to a Palm to like Buffalo Wild Wings, small things like that. Great place. I learned to deal with unions and just a different aspect
Yeah.
of
What
the
amazing.
culinary world.
Yeah.
After that, I ended up going back with him. He needed help. He was opening a place in Las Vegas at the Aria Hotel. So I ended up going with him and doing that with him and opening or assisting him in opening also another concept in New York. Same thing. So after assisting him with that, I decided it was a little hard. It was a love almost hate relationship
Sure.
with him. A lot of chefs who are like that, they're just so creative and they're just so brilliant that their people skills are not so great.
Right.
So I decided it's time for us to part ways.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I still love you and you're my mentor and I agree with you with it and everything, but I need to part ways.
Yeah.
I ended up leaving that and I wasn't looking for a position. Just so happened a recruiter contacted me and told me about Mastro's in New York was opening. Mastro's in New York, not a big deal.
Yeah.
Nobody ever heard of it. We don't have, all the steakhouses over there are way different.
Of course.
We've got the Peter Luger's, Smith and
Yeah.
Wollensky.
You got big names over there.
Yeah. So Mastro's not a big deal. And I said, let me go take a look and interview. I interviewed with the regional director. Loved him. Just loved his personality, his character, what he had to say, everything about him, about the company. How vested he was in it, how much he believed in it. And I said, he said, I want you to meet with the general manager. And I said, okay, I like this place so far.
Yeah.
I met with the general manager over in New York and absolutely wonderful human being.
Wow.
Honest, open, very forthcoming. None of, the nonsense you get or, when people try to buy you in and sell you on the company. He genuinely loved it. He told me about all the people who started off as bartenders in Mastro's and now are vice presidents.
Wow.
And presidents and running programs. And that, seeing how they recognize when people really have a great work ethic and they move them up, I was like, this I like. This is a good company.
Yeah. Everything was like really like meshing well.
Yeah, everything was just great with him. I ended up, taking the position and being in Mastro's in New York for about a year.
Okay. And where in New York about is it?
It's on 57th. It's right near Radio City.
Okay.
Across from Radio City Music.
Okay.
Great location. A lot of fun. A lot of business people. They were open for lunch. Had a great team there, working with him and just working with everybody there. I was the only woman on the team. So they kind of, nurtured me and helped me out.
Yeah.
But, still difficulties. Speaking of women difficulties, I wanted to backtrack. Sorry
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
No, it's okay.
At the Japanese restaurant, me being his right hand, especially in the culture, women normally don't lead or don't have that position.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And back in that time, all or mainly general managers in New York were all male.
Yeah.
So doing things and getting things done, especially when vendors came, or I had to, make connections for him and buy stuff and negotiate. Every time I got on the phone, they were like, "Okay, can I speak to the person in charge?"
Yeah.
Or whenever they came, who's your boss?
Yeah.
Like, it's me.
Yeah.
I would be the boss.
Yeah.
Like I'm the one you got to negotiate and
Right.
talk with.
Wow.
And yeah, the first thing they would do is they try to beat you down
Yeah.
mentally, really. Just well, you can't do this, and you don't know what
Right.
you don't know. It's
Yeah.
okay. They
Yeah.
kind of placate you.
Yeah.
But learning the business from him, and of course from school, I got tough really fast.
Yeah.
And then coming from a single mom
Yeah.
home,
Yeah.
I got tough really quick and
Yeah.
learned the business and negotiation really fast.
That's a powerful combo. And that's why one of the reasons, again, I want to highlight all of that is because, look, all roads lead to where you are today, where and the good and the bad. The key is persistence and the grit and just having a good attitude to get through it all, right? But like you said, you were coming against, and I'm glad that you went backtrack for a minute because you're sitting here knowing your stuff, but you probably felt like you had to prove yourself almost every day, all the time.
Oh yeah.
Right, all the time.
Yeah.
Like, okay, great. That's fine, Lena. Okay, I can only imagine. And I've seen it in my sister's world so many times happen to her, where she'd have to bring a guy along.
Yeah.
Like me, I'd have to go to a couple meetings. I don't know anything about what she was doing, but because they wouldn't always give her the credit. But if I said so. I get it. And that's why I think it's so good for people to hear your story, not only the inspiration of how one thing led to the other, but also how you had to fight. Like, wait, no, I know my stuff. I'm not here to be a part of the table. I made the table.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make the table available for all people to give that. So I love that.
And
So the Masters on New York.
master's in New York. Was there for about a year. Great, loved it. Close to home. Great team. Great staff. Great company still is. Great company to work for. I ended up reconnecting back into my love life a little bit. Reconnecting with an old flame who I dated when I was 17 years old. And he's out in California, which is the reason kind of why we broke up in the first place.
Yeah.
He's out here, and as we connected again, at our age and this day in life, we were like, well, let's do it. Obviously it was meant to be.
Right.
We're soulmates. All these 30-something years later, let's get together and let's try to make it happen. Mastro's being the great company it is. I told them, I want to go to California. I'm going to move to California.
Yeah.
Not even knowing what they would do for me.
Right.
They said, great. We have a place in Beverly Hills that needs somebody. San Francisco's going to open also.
Wow.
And I said, well, I'd like to go to San Francisco. Okay, we'll transfer you to Beverly Hills. Once San Francisco opens, that's yours. You can go over there. And they just uprooted me and transferred me over and brought me out here.
Wow.
All expenses paid, everything.
What a blessing.
Everything. It just kept happening and happening. I was like, I can't believe it. My family couldn't believe it either. They're all still out there. My friends didn't believe it until the day I actually packed my things and I was like, I'm really leaving.
and I love, just on that note, I love respect to the company, number one, to not only appreciate talent and what you've done and do, but also backing it up, right? And also, I just love, like you said, it all started with the way they brought you in, the regional, the GM, the culture of this company, which I've only heard great things about.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to meet a lot of the GMs, as you know, a good friend also, Gabe, and just love seeing and hearing that because it inspires that there is some great corporates out there that really, no matter how powerful they are, they keep it real.
Yeah.
So now you're in San Francisco, you went to Beverly Hills and your love life and...
So Beverly Hills for a couple of years, and after that, the great place to also to work, great team over there. Same thing, a lot of support, a lot of guidance there as well. I ended up, they told me, well, there's a spot in Malibu. Would you like to transfer? And I said, well, yeah, why not? I've never, been to Malibu location. I was like, I'll transfer. Why not? They need help. And for me, with them, all that they've done for me, anything that they've asked me, I've done. Like, do you need help here? Whatever you need, if that's what you need, somebody, and I'm the person, I'll go.
I love that.
Transferred over to Malibu, became the AGM over there after a couple of months. And then straight after that, I became AGM over there. I think it was October, November. And then in January of that year, or the next year, I had my regional come over and then say, well, I got a spot in Thousand Oaks. Would you like to become general manager? At first, I was like, oh boy, I don't think I want the responsibility. I don't think
Right.
I want to do all. And he's like,
Yeah.
we've got you. And another great thing about the company is I had every GM I've ever worked with in Mastro's, including the COO, call me direct and say, listen, you can do it. We got you. We'll
Wow.
support you. Whatever you need. Do you have any questions? One by one, they all just called me and said,
That's
listen,
amazing.
you can do it. The COO called me. He was like, Lena, if you don't want to do it, I understand, but we think you definitely can run this place.
Wow.
And I was like, I'll take it. I was like,
Yeah.
how can I say no to that? I'm like,
Not
I've got
only
bunch
is
of
it a
people.
great opportunity,
Yeah.
but you have the highest of ups giving you confidence, showing support. Again, just actions. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I never regret the choice of coming out here and just being with the company. And I knew it, meeting them, that this was the place.
Yeah.
And now I'm in, Thousand Oaks, but getting to this position, going back to what you said in the beginning, just women in the position and coming up and coming from a background. I came, my mother grew up in an orphanage.
Yeah.
Upstate New York, single parent, left, my father was abusive. She ended up walking out on him one night, took all 5 of us with her. We all lived in a studio apartment. She struggled, took overnight positions, overnight jobs.
Yep.
We didn't have, literally. I still remember and force myself to remember.
Yes.
At times when
Yes.
there was no food.
Yeah.
We got evicted about 5 times.
Yeah.
We shared clothes.
Yeah.
I got made fun of.
Yeah.
In school because of it.
Yeah.
We didn't have, insurance. We didn't have doctor visits,
Yeah.
and watching my mother struggle, sometimes when you get to this position and you tend to forget where you come from. And I don't ever want to forget all
Lena,
the struggles that
No,
she went through
yeah.
to get me where I'm at.
I love you sharing that, and I'm sorry, not feeling sorry for you because it's part of your story.
Yeah.
Sorry that men. That's why I have some advocate for good men, but we'll do that next show together. But that's a whole pile for me to share.
I've got a whole other show on that.
But I do want to compliment your mom because I know so many single moms, and they always have a reason why they don't do things.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. I hear your mom coming from an orphanage. So let's just forget the psychological things she had to deal with.
Yeah.
5 kids. You remember being evicted, not having food, and now you're at the epical part with the company and Beverly Hills. I mean, all the locations. But see, to me, that's the part of why I like doing this show.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we're hungry for better, but humble for where we've come from.
Exactly.
Right? And that's why, to me, I always say, look, what has to happen in life for you to recognize how bad you've had it? And now that you're good, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
Right? So I love that. I love that you didn't let that tear you. You changed careers. You put yourself into something, work with some of the best people in the culinary world. Literally, some of the best in the world. And here you're humble and hungry. And like you said, and I encourage you, don't forget it.
Yeah.
But don't let it be a hindrance.
Yeah.
Right? I always say it's the H's, the hindrance, the humbleness, the hungry. But that excites me. And that's why for me today, a couple last things that we'll go and we'll definitely do a round 2 of this is your story. It is because, look, I think it's also good for us to share it.
Yeah.
Right? Because we forget sometimes that, gosh, man, we went through all that.
Yeah.
So what are 3 quick points that you could say keep you humble and hungry? Like that along this journey, because now you are among some of the wealthiest of wealth people.
Yeah.
Some super nice with their money, and some people are like, I love my job, I love my job, I love my job.
And Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday.
And you see all the entitlement.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, 3 tips for anyone out there, specifically women, but anybody listening, that keep you humble and hungry that they can apply that helps you stay grounded and moving forward.
My goodness. Humble, like I said, it's remembering. It's whenever things get absolutely wonderful. When I first walked into this position and walked into being the general manager, I stopped in the restaurant and I sat down at a table. Nobody was there. And I just started remembering everything. And I was like, wow.
Good. I love that.
I remember, struggling. I remember crying in the walk-in. I remember not having this. And then I just started crying. And I was like, this, I got here.
Yes.
And I did it.
Lena, and I just want to say on that, God bless you for that, because I do the same thing. I went to the place that we're looking at. I went by myself the other day, and I don't forget, because I've been through it all. I've been through it all. I've been through bankruptcies. I've been where I've had no money. I get it.
Yeah.
And now I work hard to never forget it.
Yeah.
But to do good with it.
Exactly.
And that's my excitement. So I love you sharing that, because I could just visualize you, knowing you, going in the restaurant, sitting down for a moment and going, I'm managing one of the best places.
Verbatim. That's exactly.
I love that. So that's so I would say for anyone listening, guys, is what I feel she said was sit in it for a minute.
Yeah.
The success.
Yeah, sit in it.
Okay, so in point number 2.
That way you never take it for granted.
Yeah.
You work hard to get there. 2, what was 2? Was the hindrance?
Yeah, like what's something that kept stopping you along the way, but you kept going?
Oh my goodness, myself. Myself kept stopping me. Just thinking I don't deserve it. Like, no, I don't come from this.
Yeah.
Like
Lies.
I'll never. Yeah.
Lies.
Your mind is not your friend. Let me tell you.
No.
I'll never make it. How did you get talking to myself on how did you get here? Like, no, girl, you can't do this.
Yeah, almost like you're setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah.
Right? Like
it's
there's
not
no
gonna
way.
work.
There's
There's no way.
But you did, and you're here. Okay, and last but not least, we talked about humbleness. I love that example. I relate to you. And I believe about the lies. I've dealt with my set of lies. And this last segment of my life a couple of years ago, things were really turning for the better for me. I had to deal with that.
Yeah.
Like, how do you go from this? How do you, do I belong here? So and the third is now, how do you keep the hunger going?
Oh my goodness. Keeping the hunger going. I just absolutely love what I do. And knowing that that there are a lot of people who don't get to do this. And I tell that to a lot of people. It's like a lot of people don't get to do what they love for a living. They just work.
That's it.
And they just settle.
Yep.
And I got the opportunity to do what I absolutely love every day. And what keeps me hungry, no matter how horrible of a day or a week or what a year that I have, it'll take one person like you coming in, and I see you and I talk to you and just meeting such great, gracious human beings like you and all the people that come in that say, you know what, I had a great time. Thank you so much. Food was great. Everything, the ambiance was great, and you bring people in with you and they're like, wow, I had such a beautiful time. I had such a great time. Or people that come in and bring their families and they come in once a year. And I get this from my mentor at the Japanese place. He says, I don't care about all the people who are rich, all the people who have money. He was like, I care about the one person that comes in that saved their money the whole year, that will never be back. That's the person that I care about.
I love that.
And that's when I hear that and see that, everything else dissipates. And I'm like, this is why I do what I do. And I keep doing it.
And I love his philosophy. I know that you said love, relationship. I get it. But holding on to those qualities, I love it. So you shared she shared a great humble point that I relate to very much. Hindrance, we are our worst enemy. And I always say you got to be your number one fan and your second chair critic. Right? The fan has to come first. Right? And last, keeping that hunger. Well, Lena, I thank you. And there's like 2 minutes left, but we will do a part 2 because I love what you shared and I appreciate your vulnerability. I appreciate because I do believe that people, sometimes they look at a nice car and they don't see the people that had to put it together.
Exactly.
Right? And I'm looking at that. You come in Mastro's. I've experienced your beautiful hospitality there. You're a beautiful team, but I know within reason the hard work that goes to putting on this and keeping it. So thank you for being on here.
Thank you for asking me.
One last thing, you get to ask me any question.
Oh my goodness.
Because you've been here for the last who knows how many minutes. So if something comes to mind, you can ask me whatever you want. I'll answer it quick, and we'll leave people hanging for episode 2 with you.
Awesome. I wanted to know your background. Probably not enough time for that. I don't know. You. Every time I see you, you're just such a good, gracious human being. You are so positive, and your aura and your energy is just so beautiful.
Thank you.
How? Why this? Like how did you even get to start doing this?
Yeah.
Like, was this always what you wanted to do?
No, I'll keep it short.
I was gonna say
because I don't want the eyes of the team look. I won't even look in that direction.
Like, don't do it. Don't it.
I'll make it really quick. My faith, my faith in God is everything to me. I have been broken so many times, and no one was going to save me.
Yeah.
You know, I know, and I always wanted someone to save me, right? And I just learned at a young age that no one was going to save me but God.
Yeah.
And I feel my passion is to help people not believe the lies and to go out there and make their path, whatever their path is, the best they can be. So this platform, along with Vibe and Brownstone, all comes together.
Yeah.
And I believe, and I'll say this to you, Lena, and I will, is that 2025 is not just, I'm hoping for a good year. I believe it'll be the epic center for the best years of life to come.
Yeah.
Because of all the seeds that have been watered and fed and prayed over and grown, and they're going to come up for all of us. So I'm excited to share that with the world, and we'll leave people hanging for our next episode together.
Definitely, because we could go on and on about
Yes,
that one.
but thank you for that question. But I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Our friendship, our business relationship. And guys, thank you for tuning in. Lena, obviously, you know Mastro's. If you don't know, I don't know where you've been, but that is my favorite place for the steaks in the world. And if you go to Thousand Oaks, hit Lena up.
I'm always there. I live there.
Yes, and the team, thank you, Lena. And guys,
Thank you.
till next time, God bless.
Beautiful.
did it.
Oh,